3, 2, 1. I've got notes today because there's quite a lot I want to remember to say to you. So first of all, thank you to everyone. Am I a bit low on this screen? I'm just going to sit slightly further back. Here we go. I'm going to go here. Yes, thank you to everybody who messaged or commented and replied to last week's video. For the last couple of weeks, I've been talking specifically about paperwork and about filing, not piling. And I got lots of interesting responses about why we pile rather than file and what we can do about that. And that's what I'm going to talk about this week. I'm Rachel Papworth from Green and Tidy, the online professional organiser liberating busy people like you from the shackles of clutter and chaos for peace of mind and productivity, because when your home works, your life works. Thank you to Methinks on YouTube, who said, I'm such a piler. I like everything out where I can see it, which conflicts badly with the peace of mind that clear surfaces bring to me. Exactly. I can tidy the piles of paper, the makeup jars, bottles and brushes, but piling is the bane of my life. Yep, I hear you. And Maggie Knight, oh dear, I'm such a big piler. And this really made me laugh. She said, I know there's a letter in one of the piles which needs urgent attention, but can I find it? I know I should put these things somewhere easy to find them, but the letter arrives, my dog wants feeding, my kitten is climbing my legs, the kettle boils, the phone rings. So where did I put that letter? I know which pile it may be in, but the kittens knocked them over, causing an avalanche, and maybe that was a good thing because I need to sort it out now, and maybe the kitten will help. That really made me laugh. I could just picture it. I could absolutely picture it, Maggie. And Barbara Wild, who said she's an out of sight, out of mind person. And the only thing that works, the only part of her home that's really working is the open shelves in her kitchen. I totally get it. And you know what? I think we're all a bit like this. I hear it a lot with the clients that I work with when I go into people's homes. I hear it a lot, people saying, but if I put it away, I might as well not own it because I'll never see it again. And I hear it a lot from people with ADHD who say, well, exactly that. I have to be able to see it. It does not work to put it away. But it's not just people with ADHD. And actually, I think we're all a bit like it. I'm like it myself. I was talking last week, about how I like to have the papers on my desk in my office, because at least it gives me a sense that I will remember them. I have a sense that they're reminding me they're there, whether they really are or not. So what do you do about that? If you feel like you can't put things away because you'll forget about them, or you do forget about them when you put them away, how are you going to manage that? Because you can't have everything out because, well, for a start, obviously, it would just be a total mess, but also it won't be reminding you of what you own because there isn't room to have everything on display. So you'll end up with things piled on top of things. The things at the bottom aren't on display anymore. And even the things on top, like I said, I think it was last week, you've only got to allow a day or two to pass and you're no longer actually being reminded when you see those things because your brain's just got used to them and is forgetting about them. So what to do? Here's what to do. The first thing is to be as specific as possible about where things live. So I tell a story on my website. It's part of the story about how Green and Tidy came to be, about how when I've been living in this house for about, I think it was about 7 or 8 years, I bought a bottle of correction fluid, like Tipex, and then not long afterwards I found I already had one in a drawer. And I was horrified because I hate waste, and I was also just really shocked that I was forgetting what I owned. And that is what led me to do an absolute top to bottom declutter of every single thing that I owned. And that's part of what led to me setting up Green and Tidy. If you want to know more about that, go to my website and go to the About Me page on my website, mygreenandtidylife.co.uk. Now, if my place for correction fluid was a drawer in my bureau, but if it had been a really specific place in that drawer, in that bureau, the front corner or whatever, I wouldn't have overlooked that bottle of correction fluid. I'd have known where to go and look to see if I had it, and I would have found it. So that's the first thing, have a really, really specific place for things. And as part of doing that, you might need to corral things within your storage areas, whether it's a cupboard or a drawer or whatever. So corral small objects, bringing like to live with like. So to give you a couple of examples, which I've talked about on other videos, in my kitchen utensil drawer, I have a tub which all my measuring spoons live in. It's not that big, I'm making a size of more like about that big, where all my measuring spoons live. So I can find my measuring spoons easily, and I don't forget about any of my measuring spoons because they're all in that tub. Similarly, in the cupboard where I keep my jewellery, I have a jewellery box which is specifically for rings. You know, it's got those things that you tuck the rings into. It's just for rings. So all my rings are in one box, corralled together. So don't forget what rings I've got, because when I want to wear a ring, I open the box and I look and I pick a ring. So don't forget them. So corral small items together. Okay, third thing, if you can, have items on display in storage. So again, I've talked in other videos about how I keep my earrings. They're on display stands, but they're standing on a shelf in a cupboard. So as long as the cupboard doors are shut, they're out of sight and they're not cluttering the place up, but they are actually kind of on display. So when I want to pick an earring, a pair of earrings, I open the cupboard doors and I can see all my earrings, and I don't forget any of my earrings. Have less things. Should that be fewer? Have fewer things. Really, that is like so important. Just have less stuff. Get rid of the clutter, and that will make it easier for you to find and remember that you've got the good stuff. Because if everything's jam-packed into a drawer, then it's several layers deep and you never find the stuff at the bottom. Whereas if you don't have quite so much stuff, everything's just in one layer, and when you open that drawer or open that cupboard, you see everything. Have less stuff. And in service of having less stuff, and also in order to keep reminding yourself what you own, go through everything frequently. I say this so often, so again I'm going to share about the way that I manage this, the rotating decluttering schedule that I work to. So every month I go through the next area of my home, just a small area. I do about half an hour a month, the next drawer or the next cupboard, and I work around my home systematically. It takes me about 3 or 4 years to do a full circuit of the house, but that means there's not a single thing in my house that hasn't been in my hands in the last 3.5 to 4 years. Believe me, it is quite long enough to forget completely that I've owned stuff. So every time I go through the cupboards and drawers, I bring stuff back into use. Okay, so I hope that helps, and if it does, please do give me a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. If you think it would help others, please share this video. All those things really, really help me. And tell me what you think in the comments below the video. How do you make sure that you remember you've got stuff? Are you one of those people that feels like if it's out of sight, out of mind? How true do you think that is? What have you found? What strategies have you found for managing that so that you don't have to have absolutely everything out all the time? See you next time.